In heavy logistics, maximum convoy length is dictated by a rigid physical bottleneck. The cumulative draft force of the payload pulls on the front mechanical couplers of the lead engine. If the mass exceeds the tensile strength of the metal, the link fails. Overcoming this limit requires a shift from centralized pulling to decentralized propulsion. Instead of dragging a dead weight from the front, every unit must contribute to the move in sync. This is the engineering foundation of the Atomic Express. It was proposed by R.J. Aguiar as a system designed to neutralize mechanical tension through a distributed control mesh. While the initial inspiration was satirical, the concept was formalized into a technical architecture and submitted for federal patent protection in June 2026. This physical model of tension and failure provides a lens through which to view federal procurement. The same stressors that snap a mechanical link under centralized tension appear when a massive bureaucracy fails to distribute its data and licensing load. Within the trillion-dollar framework of the Department of Defense, procurement functions like a heavy rail line. It is a massive sequence of contracts for software and hardware that drive the military forward. A specific procurement paradox has emerged. The military is currently paying defense contractors for distributed architectures that the inventor has already granted the government the right to use for free. The inventor executed a perpetual, royalty-free, and worldwide license. This grant was written specifically for the U.S. federal government and its military agencies, covering national defense and intelligence operations. To enforce this, a formal administrative claim was filed under DFARS 227.7004. This is the legal mechanism used to notify the government of structural irregularities in how it pays for intellectual property. The filing was load-balanced across the entire defense hierarchy. It bypasses lower-level nodes to confer actual knowledge of the claim to the DoD Chief Information Officer, the Secretary of Defense, and the CEOs of major tech vendors. By billing for pre-licensed foundational IP, contractors are double charging for assets the government already holds. This creates a systemic accounting anomaly that mirrors the mechanical failure of an overloaded train. To address this friction, the inventor applied the engineering logic used to stabilize the Atomic Express. The macro engineering begins with the energy source. The lead vehicle acts as a rolling power plant, housing a Generation 4 molten salt reactor or a small modular reactor. Megawatts of electricity flow from this reactor through a high-voltage bus that extends the entire length of the convoy sequence. Parallel to the power line is a fiber optic data bus. This enables instantaneous communication between every vehicle in the chain. Because power and data are distributed, each auxiliary unit functions as an independent node. Every car has its own electric propulsion system and its own distributed computing module. This transforms the train into a peer-to-peer network on wheels. The convoy is no longer a single mass being dragged, but a collaborative system where each node manages its own load. The critical intersection is the coupling interface. This is where the physical and digital systems meet. Embedded in these hitches are piezoelectric strain gauges. These sensors provide real-time feedback on the physical forces of tension and compression acting on each link. This feedback is processed by a distributed mesh control algorithm. If a strain gauge detects force exceeding a set threshold, it sends a command to the local computing node, which immediately adjusts its motor torque to neutralize the force, synchronizing with units ahead and behind. By using localized sensors to maintain a state of zero tension, the system addresses the cumulative draft force that typically limits a train's size. On undulating tracks, the network performs kinetic energy arbitrage. It captures the gravitational momentum of the rear units as they descend a slope. Through regenerative braking, these descending units convert their mass into electricity and feed it back into the shared power bus. This provides both a mechanical push and electrical power to the units at the front of the convoy that are actively climbing the next hill. For safety, the system uses a progressive rear-first braking sequence. This creates a drag anchor effect, preventing a massively extended convoy from jackknifing during deceleration. The convoy actively arbitrates its own energy and tension. It turns the sheer mass of the payload into a cooperative engine for its own propulsion. This same logic of distributed, sensor-driven stabilization applies to the digital procurement pipelines of the Pentagon. The architectural principles of the Atomic Express are mirrored in the inventor's intellectual property portfolio, which is already embedded in global commercial off-the-shelf systems. The first overlap is patent 19,571,566. This covers distributed radio frequency de-anonymization grids used across iOS, Android, and Windows mobile infrastructure. The claim details tracing localized signal grids using nanosecond-level time-of-arrival differentials, a feature integrated into mobile devices the military procures by the thousands. A second overlap is patent 19560042, protecting the high-bandwidth optical connections found in Meta VR hardware and Apple Silicon data fabrics. Other structural overlaps include geo-indexing ledgers for secure core storage and parametric denoising for public key cryptanalysis. These specific architectural layers are packaged and sold to the DoD by prime defense integrators. The filing alleges that the military is being billed for these features despite already possessing the legal right to use them. When contractors embed R&D or licensing costs for these pre-licensed systems into federal contracts, they are charging for property the government already holds. The legal strategy to resolve this is the MARCELO loop, Modular Autonomous Rapid Collaborative Energy Logistics Orchestration. In this framework, the formal DFARS claim functions exactly like the piezoelectric strain gauge in the atomic express hitch. The claim acts as a sensor within the procurement network. It is designed to detect and flag unauthorized financial friction in a decentralized system of multi-billion-dollar contracts. Once that friction is formally registered with procuring contracting officers, the agency no longer has plausible deniability. The filing mandates an immediate administrative review and a cost accounting audit of all active hardware and software delivery cycles. By applying the logic of distributed systems to federal law, the inventor turns a complex intellectual property dispute into a self-executing compliance loop. It is an engineering solution designed to safeguard the integrity of the American military-industrial complex.